Do I need to turn that off? Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started with our webinar. It is Wednesday, October the 19th, and you are at What's Better Than Pokemon Go, Pebble Go. My name is Cheryl Taylor, and I'm the librarian at the Classical Center at Vile. With our webinar, it is Wednesday, October the 19th, and you are at What's Better Than Pokemon Go, Pebble Go.
Right there.
My name is Cheryl Taylor, and I'm the librarian at the Classical Center at Vile with our webinar. Well, there was some weirdness going on, but now everything's fine. There was some. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. There was some strangeness. I had like an echo, and then I was back in different time. Okay. Go there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love technology, and the first few times you try it, oh well. Anyway, we'll rewind back to the beginning. Hello, my name is Cheryl Taylor, and I am the librarian at the Classical Center at Vile. I've been here for 9 years, and our moderator is Stacy McGough, and she is a math and science teacher, 4th grade at Bullock Elementary, and she's been in the district for 27 years. So today, what we're going to talk about is the resource Pebble Go. In my library currently, I have 4 desktop computers. In addition, my campus has 5 iPad carts and 1 cart of MacBooks that we all share for our entire campus. And so far, it's worked real well for us. But that also means that we all have limited access to those same resources. So again, we've had to kind of get creative and figure out how to kind of work together with things. Today's webinar is about Pebble Go. Pebble Go is a database of information for beginning readers. Let me turn the page of my script. Don't worry, you're not going to have to stare at me the whole time. I'm just going to go through the little blurb and then go to the screen and not just be ahead. Common misconceptions. First of all, you might think to yourself, Pebble Go, it's just another database. Just throw it in the pile. Well, it is another database. However, this one is specifically geared toward our youngest students and young readers, so that it has an oral component that we'll look at. It has a very thorough glossary, lots of pictures. Things are very standardized, so that if you decided you wanted to do a project or something like that, it would be very easy for you to set this up for your students, even though they're younger and maybe need more assistance with reading. Also, it's not very, sometimes you might think that a database is going to be difficult to use, or that it's going to be difficult for your students to use. In the teacher resources that we'll look at toward the end, there's a spot that actually has a tutorial for yourself or a tutorial for your students, so that if you wanted your students to watch that tutorial before you started to use it, that would be there, so you don't have to create any kind of additional materials, paperwork, things like that. They've provided that instrument for you. Also, as far as you might think that might be difficult for your students to search in it, it's all pictures. So your students, if they can't spell a word or have difficulty, they're not going to be asking you how to spell things. It's all pictures and all illustrations, so they can search that way also. And there's also a misconception that all databases might be the same. And yes, they all contain valuable information, but they're not necessarily all the same, and they're geared toward different groups. And hopefully you'll see that by the end of today with Pebble Go. It's important because we all know that students like Google. We like Google. I like to Google things and find out information. However, sometimes there's a more reliable way to get information than just clicking Google and hoping that the information that I get is the best. And so encouraging our students to use databases is one way to make sure that they're getting solid information that is reliable, it has been researched, and something that, we know isn't, fake or been changed like on Wikipedia or something like that. How this could help you. Basically, this is going to be a brief overview of the resource so that you're familiar with it, so you're familiar how to use it. And perhaps if this is something that you really like, you'll share it with teammates. You'll encourage them to watch this webinar when it is available through iTunes U, or you'll just, go on and be the expert and wow everyone with everything you know. Feel free. It's not going to hurt my feelings. Be the expert on your campus. I'm totally cool with that. Our ISTE standard, which we want to make sure that we're also supporting, so that we have our technology standards, is our research and information fluency for students. That students know how to apply digital tools to gather, use, and evaluate information. They need to be able to locate, organize, analyze, evaluate, synthesize, and ethically use information. Whew, that's a lot. However, Pebble Go does help with that. It offers a citation tool for every article that the students can click on that'll show them exactly how to cite it, so that even our youngest students all the way to students that might be in high school can make sure that they know, this is not my work, I need to cite it, and have that set up so that that's just part of how they do things and how they do research when they're looking online. How to get to Pebble Go. And I'm going to switch over to the screen share so that you can kind of see and follow along as I'm doing this. So let's see. No more head. Bye, everyone. It's been great not really seeing you. That one. All right. Now I just have to make it larger so everyone can see. All right. I am now in the library catalog, which, if you are not aware, the library catalog is an icon on your desktop. It looks like a small green book. It's right there, and it says library. You click on that, and then you get this long list of schools. The first step for you to do to find Pebble Go is click on your school. For the purposes of today, I'm going to click on the Classical Center at Vile because that's where I am, but just be aware, you'll select your school when you log in, but you'll have the same information. Now, after I click on my school, I have this page right here. Elementaries all look the same. Middle school and high school, your start page is a little bit different, but it is set up the same way in that it's a Google slide with has spaces on it that you can click and be able to get to resources. As you'll notice right here in the center, there's Pebble Go, and so you'll want to select that. And now we're in. Now, the school district is paying for animals, biographies, and animales, the Spanish version of the animals. There are campuses that if you had already purchased Pebble Go, because the school district started to pay for it, that Capstone, that's the company that makes this, gave those campuses a little bit of a little bonus and let them get some other resources free. So if you're in your campus and you're looking and you say, whoa, there's dinosaurs on here. You're right. Some people might have that if your campus purchased it. There are extra resources that we'll talk about just briefly at the end that are also available. And so if you're at your campus and you show either social studies, science, or dinosaurs, that is just something extra that the publisher did because of the overlap in purchasing. That's also an option if you and your campus absolutely loves Pebble Go. You can always switch and you can always buy those, and it's not really a problem to add those in. Capstone is more than willing to take your money. All right. They're a fabulous company, though. Don't get me wrong. All right. Now we're going to just start off, jump in, and start searching. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to pick one. We're going to click animals. Now, these are all the options that you have within animals. As you can see, lots of different things to choose from, but again, it's all pictures to help our students so that they don't have to spell things like classification or habitat or even mammal. Sometimes that can be one that could trip them up. We're going to select mammals, and then I like gorillas, so that's the direction we're going to go. I selected primates. Now, notice at the top bar also, it's showing the path that I used as I was searching. So it shows animals, mammals, primates. So also that kind of helps our kids find the path that they were following. Kind of help them, encourage them, see that as they're searching. So I'm going to select gorillas, I like them. And then this is what your students would see. Now, notice there's a yellow box right here that you can click, and it reads it for you. Yeah, I'm just going to stop right there. Now, I didn't let it read it all the way through, but you kind of get the idea. Now, you'll notice one word on here is red. That word is a glossary word. And if I click on that word, it shows you the definition of that word, just a further definition. And again, you have the option to listen to it, and it'll read that definition. So even students that aren't sure about certain words, they do have options that things can be read to them. We'll go back to our text. Notice that the text is big. It's a very simple font, okay? And so it's not going to be something that's going to distract the students. It has pictures. You can click on the other tabs. And again, you can listen to this. It has information about their habitat, their food, their life cycle, fun facts about gorillas, and then other animals or other places that students could search in Pebble Go that coincide with gorillas. So if students just really love gorillas and they really wanted to learn more about other kinds of animals, they have that option right there with our related articles. Now, notice at the bottom, okay, I'm going to go back to body just for the sake of being at this kind of the start page for gorillas. Notice at the bottom, you have other options down here, okay? The first one is cite. Now that's going to provide a citation for your students to use. So here's the citation, and as you notice, there's an option right here that says print. It can easily be printed so that your students can have that right in front of them. Also, depending on the age of your students, if you're using something like this with 4th graders or even 5th graders because you're trying to get them to even start the research process, you could also have them write this down or however you chose to do that, but here's the citation in the proper format. Next, this one is the article. And if you click that, it's going to show you the complete article that's on Pebble Go, and you could print it out. You can print out the entire article, or you can print out just the picture. And again, if your students are doing a project, you can print it. What if you had a student that was absent a whole bunch of days and they didn't have computer access at their house? Because this is a tool that is available to all students in the district at their homes. But if let's say they didn't have access to it, well, here you could print this off, send it home with mom or dad with all that makeup work, and then they have an opportunity to do the exact same project, just in a modified format to kind of help you and help the student. Next, we have activities. That's our little moving crayon. You have 2 different activities. There's a share what you know. Now, you might be thinking, what do they look like? How do I know what they are? Oh, I don't want to print it. And well, just click print. Nothing's going to happen yet. It just shows you what the page looks like. Okay, you get kind of a print preview before you've actually decided that you wanted it. And so it shows you it's just a simple little sheet, but it is something that you could use if you just wanted your students to practice using Pebble Go and get the idea for that. Now, the other activity is a picture of the gorilla that has all the different parts, and then the students would have to label it, okay, and kind of match things up. All right. Next, there's a video. All the videos that are provided are relatively short, and this one's 20 seconds. And all it's going to show is just the animal in its habitat. So the student gets an idea if they've never seen a gorilla or they haven't been to the zoo or anything like that. This does give them an idea of what that animal looks like, you know, and how it, you know, what its native habitat looks like also. And all of them are, like I said, relatively short. That one's 20 seconds long. Now, this one, the listen, this one is provided for animals that make a sound. Okay, so we're going to click listen. 5 seconds. That'll be about all you want to listen to this sound because it's a gorilla screeching. Okay, so again, just give students an idea of what it sounds like if they've never had an opportunity to experience it themselves. The range map shows where gorillas can be found. So again, if you wanted to have them do some type of map with their research project, they always have the option. They could click on this and it would show where those animals are, and they could easily color in a map that matched that. And and again, they're still using the resource. They're still getting in there and looking at that research that's been provided for them. All right, well, enough with gorillas. We'll go to another animal that's near and dear to my heart. We'll go back to animals. Now, this one gorillas are kind of fun and cuddly, but this one might say, I don't know about this girl, and rightfully so, but we're still going to do it. We're going to click right down here at insects and spiders. We're going to select spiders. And now we have 3 options here. Notice it is kind of narrowing the options. Some categories have lots of things, some have less things. So if you are wanting to use this with your students and you're wanting to give them options for what they want to do research on, you might want to look and maybe have a list so they don't pick some bizarro weird animal that is not even in here and is difficult to find. So we're going to pick tarantulas. And again, there's body, there's habitat, food, life cycle, fun facts, and related articles. So if you wanted to do a project in your class, you could let students pick any animal that was in Pebble Go, and all those tabs are the same for each one of those animals. So you could have the students tell me about its body, its habitat, its food, and it could be standardized, and so you wouldn't have to create something different for every single student, for every single animal. It could be something that you could establish that could be set up for your kids. Notice also down at the bottom, again, we have our citation, our article, our activities, our video. Notice this time, though, we don't have any sound, any listen, well, because tarantulas don't make noise. So they don't have that on there. So just be aware if there's something that's not showing down here at the bottom, that's because there isn't that available. And again, super short little video that just shows a tarantula. Kind of casual. Oh, here it comes. And then it's going to pop out and eat it. Aw, poor little bug. So just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things, okay, that are available and kind of some of the characteristics of the site that will make it easy for you to use if you wanted to have your students do reports and things. Now, we'll click something different, okay, just to see something different. We'll go back to animals, and this time we're going to select animal behavior. Now, this time we have these different options, and so again, you're just going to pick the one that matches what you're doing. Now, this, in my opinion, might be something that if you're doing something in class, whole group, for example, and maybe you don't want to read a whole book about it, you just want to have a little blurb at the beginning of a lesson or something like that, you could use this. Okay, so I selected animals in fall, and again, I have the same options. I can listen to the text. So you could pull this up on your presentation station and listen to the text, and it could read along for all of your students. The tabs did change simply because the tab of habitat and food and life cycle don't really match the animal behavior and the animals in the fall. So you would want to just be aware that those are different on these. And again, we have the same thing, our citation. You could print the article out. And this one, there's a video, no map, no sounds. So again, you just have to look at the resource and see and look at, I really want to look up blah. I know first grade, I think they're talking about animals in fall and different things in fall and science. So here you could look this up. There was also one that was about hibernation. There was one about migration. Let's suppose your library didn't have a book about hibernation that was, appropriate for your grade level, or even just something quick that you wanted to use as a starter for a lesson. You could look in Pebble Go and quickly be able to access and see that, and all of your students could see it on your presentation station. Now, quickly, we're going to go back to home and we're going to look at biographies and animales. We'll go to animales first. As you can see, if you read Spanish or just take my word for it, it's all the same. Okay, notice there isn't a different number like, oh no, dinosaurs aren't there or anything. The same number, everything's been translated for you. So again, we could choose mammals. I'm going to click primates. I'm going to click gorillas. And you're going to notice it is the exact same material that was there in English as there in Spanish, which for anyone who teaches bilingual or deals with students that need the Spanish support or need it in Spanish, know that a lot of times this can be frustrating because the same material that's available in English isn't always available in Spanish. However, in this case at Pebble Go, it is, which is actually, in my opinion, really fantastic because it provides support that we need for English as well as Spanish students. And again, it's all the same down here at the bottom. Now I'm going to go back home. Okay, so if I want to go back all the way to the beginning, I'm going to go back to home and I'm going to click on biographies. Now, biographies are just what you think. Here's our information about our famous people. Now, one thing that is different in our biography section is if you'll notice down at the bottom, between where it says games and question of the day, there's a little blurb, and we'll talk about those in a minute, I promise. There's a spot right here that says Texas biographies only. So if you're a 4th grade teacher, or if you just want to do biographies of people that are from Texas, you can turn this on or off. Right now, mine is off. So say I want to only see people from Texas. When I click it, notice things changed because there aren't nearly as many just Texas biographies in this resource. But if you wanted just people from Texas, that's a good way to narrow down your search. All right, so I'm going to turn that back off. And again, I'm going to just click real quick at one. Let's go to history makers. And I'm going to go with, boy, if you really want to cause trouble in your class, pick Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton right now. Ooh, let's be safe. We're going to go with American Expansion and Davy Crockett. Ooh, he seems like a safe bet. Again, same resources as before. You can listen to the material. It has early life, early work, later years. Some of the tabs are a little bit different with some of the people, but essentially they all kind of follow. Sometimes there'll be a tab that says education. Sometimes there might be a tab that says or there's one that says later life. There's one they had that was in between. So you would want to look, but basically, you know, if you were doing a biography or some type of study of biographies, there would be similar tabs. One thing that they add down here is they have a timeline of that person's life. So it can show you some of the high points. Notice they don't bog it down. They know this is younger students. So it's not, you know, super advanced. It isn't, you know, on this date, this happened. It's just a general timeline. And again, this could be a good way to start talking about timelines with your students. And if you were doing a specific person, create the timeline, you know, use those events, cut it out, check it with the computer. So some simple things that you can do with that. All right. Now, some of the fun features of this. Couple of random things. First, not sure if you noticed, but at the very top, there's a spinner right by where it says search. The spinner, if you spin that, it's going to give you a random article in whatever you're in. So now I'm going to learn about Rachel Carson. I've never heard of her before, but I'm going to know about her by the time this is done. So it just gives you a random article about whatever category you're in. If I were in animals, there's the spinner, and it gave me a random animal, a random article that's in there. If I clicked it again, it would give me something totally different. So it's just kind of a fun little feature if I just wanted to read something, or if you have a student who, you know, always finishes things, maybe that could be something fun for them to do is click, hey, find a random article, read about it, tell me something about it. Tell me, you know, did you like that animal? Did you learn about them? You could use it a number of different ways, but something that could get the students reading, thinking, you know, kind of something besides just sitting there saying, I don't know what to do next. All right. Now, down at the bottom of I went back to our start, and then now I'm at animals again. There are games and question of the day. Now, the games They have 6 different games, and they're preset. So they're not necessarily based on anything you've done, but they're preset, and you can just click one and start to play it. Okay, so the jigsaw one, it's going to come up. I click start. Oh, and now it's moved all the pieces. Then I put the pieces back in place. It locks them. If I put them in the wrong place, it puts a red square around it, so I know that it's not the right spot. So, oh, that was wrong. Oh, that was wrong. And then I can go from there and build my picture. So again, oh, that was wrong. So just something fun for students to do. And then there's several different games that they can pick from. The matching game is matching animals and habitats. So just lots of different variety within the games. There's also the question of the day. The question of the day is basically a survey. And so it'll ask the students what animal makes the coolest sound. I'm going to go with elephant. And then I vote. And then it shows me everybody else that's voted in today's question, how they voted. So, if you were doing something with, I don't know, percents, if you're have older students, things like that, or if it's just for fun, just to see what, maybe have your class vote, then look at online what everybody else said. You could do that also. Now, lastly, down at the very bottom, there's a tab, there's a little button right down here at the very bottom. It says teacher resources. And this is mainly stuff that you would use. There are lesson plans in here, classification charts, maps, different worksheets and things you might use. For example, here's one all about bears. There's a lesson plan, kind of gives you some suggestions of what to do, an enrichment activity, so that if you wanted to do something, it's a fiction, nonfiction T-chart. So if you're looking for just something different to do, you could always use some of the lessons that are in there. There's reproducibles that are available right here. There's where I mentioned earlier, the educator tutorial, professional development tutorial, and the student tutorial. So if you had students that, you wanted to make maybe 2 students the class experts on this, you have 2 kids that love technology and finish things super early, have them watch the student tutorial and have them be the experts on Pebble Go. And then they can be the ones to watch it, really commit it to memory, and help you so that you're not running around trying to help everybody find what they're looking for. You've got those 2 experts also that you could really lean on and get some help for. Other resources that we have that kind of go along, coincide with the same, we'll go back to this start page. I've left Pebble Go. I'm back to the library page now. There are Britannica. There's a Spanish Britannica. Those are both encyclopedias. Explora and Infobits. Lots of different information and articles that are available. National Geographic Kids has videos, books, magazines that are available. So if you say, okay, we're going to start with Pebble Go maybe now, maybe October, November, and then work our way up to something a little bit more advanced, the district also provides other materials here again on your library catalog page that you could easily get to that are available and free and students could use at home. All right, let's see. Oh, one last thing, there is other resources in Pebble Go that if your campus just absolutely falls in love with it, there are other options, and there's pricing, so it can tell you other things that are available. So if you were just dying for more, there's always more. All right, now the time for the secret phrase, and this is if you're at the Classical Center at Vial. I made my staff a deal so that maybe they'd listen to the webinar. The secret phrase, the creepy carrots are creeping. Repeat, the secret phrase, the creepy carrots are creeping. All right, now back to the regular webinar. That concludes it. We're actually a minute or 2 past. So that concludes it. You can always follow me on Twitter. I'm at Cheryl Taylor 7 on Twitter. I'm not really very exciting. I'm not going to lie to you. But my picture, for some reason, is me in my triathlon suit. So if you really want to say, man, if you're feeling like, man, I should not eat this cake, look at that picture and you will feel better about yourself. So you feel free. I'm totally cool with that. I don't know why that's the picture. I can't seem to figure it out. And so I'm just going to go with it. If you have questions about Pebble Go, you can always email me, Cheryl Taylor. I'm ctaylor@garlandisd.net, or you could always ask the librarian on the campus that you are. I'm sure that he or she would be more than happy to help you with that, or email me, or just search and have a good time, because really, as you can see, it's not really possible to mess it up. So hopefully you had a good webinar, and the CPE link. Stacy's going to post the CPE link. So Stacy, I hope you heard that. And she's going to post the CPE link, and that has information to fill out for your campus and for you to get credit for this, because if you listen to this fantastic webinar, I know it was enough just to listen, but of course you want some credit too. So you all have a fantastic day. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you get going with Pebble Go. See what I did there?